Is it just me, or am I seeing things? Hello, this is Ken. I like making things. I like making things out of paper, and I like making things cooler. Especially my figures. Sometimes figures don't look all that screen accurate. All they need is a bit of touch up here and there to unleash their hidden potential. I also love using everyday tools and materials to recreate iconic scenes from my figures, so they can shine on my display. Subscribe to my channel and join my DIY adventure as I ask myself the same question every week. Can I make it? Last week, I worked on Ironheart, adding the small details back and making the suit look more mechanical. Check it out if you haven't already. Today, I'm gonna work on Namor. To be honest, I didn't want to get this figure at first, because it has minimal amount of clothing on. Not that it's a problem, he's got a great body. It's just that I personally prefer clothed figure because the clothing generally hides the joints better, like Wong and all the Doctor Stranges. With a figure like this, it's hard not to see the joints, especially the one on his torso. It's a harsh line across the body, but I thought this could be a neat little challenge, so I decided to get it. Let's deconstruct this figure. There's an FAQ on the paint and brushes I use in the description box below. The thing that bothers me the most is that the figure looks like a mannequin. It is due to that plastic sheen, making it look more like a Ken doll. Yes, it is a toy, but I prefer mine a bit more lifelike. Oh, mine came with a colorful toe. Gonna have to patch that up. Adjusting his skin color is gonna be tricky. Usually, I only need to paint the face and hands, but now it's 90% of the figure. It is going to be the thing that makes or breaks this figure. I also want to bring out the details on the gold bits. A little bit of shading should do the trick. The face is pretty good, but it looks more cartoonish than usual. Maybe it's those beautiful eyes of his. My main goal today is to get his skin to look more lifelike. So, can I make it? Let's start with the skin color. I think the overall color is pretty good. I believe he's a bit darker in the movie, so I'm gonna mix a bit of this tan color with a bit of warm brown to get a similar shade. I'm gonna try and keep the color similar to the original, because I'm worried about the paint rub. With clothed figures, it's easier to avoid, but it seems to be inevitable with Namor, especially the areas around his shoulders. Alright, let's test this color on his back. That's a pretty good match. Acrylic paint dries matte and often dries a little darker, so the color should be just right once everything is dried. This is going to be the base skin color. I'm going to apply it all over the figure to get rid of that shine. I also want to make sure this layer is as smooth and as thin as possible. It's going to look weird if the paint is too thick, like he's wearing a skin suit or something. Alright, now that the base layer has dried, I'm going to use the warm brown as a shading color to emphasize its muscle definition. I'm also keeping this layer thin and blending it so it looks natural, so it doesn't look like his muscles are drawn on. And yeah, those. They were missing. But I don't want them to become distracting either, so I'll leave mine like this. So far so good. The paint looks pretty natural. Let me do the same to his abs. Those are some rock solid abs. How divine do I want them? Okay, they're very defined. All there's left are his arms and legs. I don't want to do too much to his limbs. I just want the colors to match the body so they don't look like they're out of place. Normally, this is when I'll apply a layer of matte varnish to seal the paint and protect it. But because of how the shoulders are molded, I think adding more layers will create the opposite effect. I believe some people sand the areas around the joints to prevent paint rub. I don't think I'm there yet. That still feels intimidating to do. And I do like that they try to make the joints look as seamless as possible. Alright, onto the goat bits. First, I'm gonna add a bit of gold to all these areas to make them look more metallic, including his armbands. These things are so small. I took these pieces off so I don't have to worry about messing up the skin. This chest piece has a lot of molded details, but visually it's all blended together and looks too plasticky. It's gonna need a bit more shading to bring out all those details. The gold has dried, so I put everything back on. Time to work on the details. I'm gonna use this fine brush and add a bit of brown into the crevices. I think black will also work, but I try to avoid using black whenever possible. Unless the color is supposed to be black, of course. But here, with the brown, it'll create more natural looking shadows, adding depth to his chest piece. I'm gonna do the same to the rest of the armor, focusing on all the crevices and lines. Okay, I do think a black wash would create the same effect too, but I want to avoid the color bleeding onto the other parts, so I'm going with this method so I can have more precise control. Before I move onto the face, let me quickly work on this weapon too. First with a layer of gold to make it shinier, then a bit of brown in the crevices to bring out the details. I want to try something. Just like with Black Adam, I find that the overly matte skin looks a bit like a potato. So I'm going to add a bit of glossy varnish onto the body to give it a reddish look. I am not going to brush it on the usual way, where I go back and forth over an area until it's evenly coated. Instead, I'm going to dab a small amount on at a time with the bristles. I have this stiff brush here with the bristles going all over the place, so this is perfect. It is giving this sweaty, wet body look with the varnish. I gotta be careful though. I want the body to kinda glisten when the light hits it, but I don't want the entire body to shine. Otherwise, it'll look plasticky again. Alright, time to work on the face. I don't see anything wrong with the face. Maybe that he looks a little bit younger than he does in the movie. Let me start by doing the same thing to his skin, so the face matches the body. I'm gonna try and reshape his eyebrows so they don't look as blocky too. I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. Namor has black hair, so I have to use the color black here, which means I can't mess up. No, that went too high. No. I'm back. I had to fix the brow off screen. Onto his beard. I'm gonna darken his beard so it blends with the hair, and to get rid of that plastic shine too. And to add a bit more variety to the texture, I'm gonna make his earring glossy, to make them look like they're made out of jade. Here's the head all finished. The changes are subtle, but he looks less cartoonish. The skin tone is more lifelike now. And here's what the head looks like with a bit of sweat. It looks a little strange here with a wet face, but I think it will make more sense once I attach the head back on. Alright, here's the finished figure. Okay, I did end up doing the black wash over the gold armor. Off camera. The armor needed to look heavier, and darker colors tend to look heavier. Overall, the changes I made are quite subtle, but the figure now looks a lot more natural and like a real person. The skin looks pretty believable in my opinion. He should be on the cover of a fitness magazine or something. What do you think? Do you like what I've done? Do you think the wet look works? Let me know down below. I know in the movie he also had this look with the headdress and shoulder pads. I do want to make that, but I need to see more reference images first. I also need to figure out what material to use. Normally I'll use paper, but I don't think that'll look convincing. I may have to use clay, but I don't really have the right tools to do intricate designs, so we'll see. Right now I'm still pretty impressed at how good he looks. He doesn't look like a mannequin to me anymore. The joints still break the illusion a little bit, but those are necessary for a figure. Alright, let's end it with the photo shoot. Ooh, this looks very good. The only thing that sticks out to me is the ab crunch joint. But if I can ignore that torso joint, the figure now looks pretty lifelike. I am, however, not going to do extreme poses with his arms. I can move the arms fine, but if I raise the arms too high or too far, the paint's gonna get scraped off. So I'm just gonna do more natural looking poses, which Namor can pull off effortlessly, by the way. The only thing I notice is that he can't seem to raise or lower his head much, but he can turn his head fine. Other than that, he's pretty easy to pose. But he looks his best when I crop above the torso joint. The skin color looks so good. It's like there's a bit of imperfections here and there, and it works really well with that wet look too. There aren't a lot of characters with this kind of skin tone, so I'm glad I did a good job. The chest piece also looks heavier and more metallic now too. Those shadings helped a lot. I really enjoy all the blues and greens on the figure. They're not overpowering, they work really nicely as complementary colors. Oh, speaking of nice, the hair is actually really well sculpted. I love the little spike at the front. Good job, Hasbro. Alright, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you for watching. Give it a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. I still have a few more Black Panther figures to work on, so stay tuned. And as always, stay inspired and I'll see you next week. I can make it, so can you. Hey, you can now support me on Patreon. I post quite regularly there, from behind the scenes updates to sneak peeks to video breakdowns. Top tier members will receive a DIY 3D mini poster every month. These mini posters look great by themselves, but even cooler next to other mini posters. I love making things, and this is my way to thank my supporters. The link to my Patreon is in the description box down below.